What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Cash's Collectibles. I'm Cash, and today we are looking at the Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse Part 1, Spider-Man 2099 Marvel Legends. So this guy just came out, literally within the week, and he's been announced for quite some time, but I saw him at Target, and I decided, you know what? I have to have him. So I bought him, and the thing is, I have videos scheduled, and I have so many videos scheduled that this video isn't gonna come out until about May. So it's April. It's actually April 20th today. So yeah, I'm technically not late, but in reality, this video is going to be coming out quite some time after this figure has been released. So yeah, that's just one thing I did want to say. But looking at the box art, this comes to my first complaint about this figure, is that they used the retro card box style, which I think is just weird. The box looks cool. I'll just show you the top bit right there. It says Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, the title of the movie. Has some graphic here with Miguel, Gwen, and Miles. Obviously, we have Marvel Legends down there. The name, Spider logo. We got the wave right there, and a picture of Miguel right there. So yeah, that's like the whole box art, but I'm just confused as to why they use the retro card style. I feel like I still would have bought it if I feel like the retro card style makes it feel cheaper than it needs to be. Something about it just doesn't. I like the retro card style on some figures. I feel like, yeah, if it's a retro look to a figure, but this is a new figure from a new movie. I don't know why they decided to go with something like this. I would have preferred the current modern day Marvel Legends boxes for this wave. I'm personally confused as to why they didn't use it, but who knows? Maybe some people like it, maybe some people don't. But yeah, let's get this guy out of the box and I'll show you what he's all about. Okay, so first things first, let's take a look at the accessories. And one thing about this wave, my main criticism, other than the box, my main criticism for this wave is the lack of accessories on all of the figures. I think the max amount of accessories we get is, I think Spider-Punk gets a guitar, and I think the Spot gets some spot effects with Miles' like head and hand or something like that. I'm not really too familiar, but I think all the other figures get like one other set of hands or something crazy. I think Miles and Gwen get separate head sculpts, but that's besides the point. I'm getting off track. Miguel only comes with these other hands, so he has closed fists and open hands. That is all he comes with. That is absolutely it. So if that's something that doesn't bother you, personally, it kind of bothers me. I feel like, I don't really know. Maybe, like we saw him use like claw hands or something in the trailer, like maybe a little more emotion in the hands, maybe something. I don't know. I feel like it's just a little disappointing to see he only got one accessory, and one extra set of hands. I can't even call this an accessory. So yeah, he does have an extra set of hands. But now taking a closer look at the figure, it does have the web cape, which I guess you can say is an accessory. I don't think it's removable, so I wouldn't really count it, but it does look really nice. It looks pretty cool. It has that super stylized look of the Spider-Verse franchise, which I think it's definitely a yes or no with some people. For me, it's definitely a yes. I love this look so much. I feel like I think it looks so cool. I really like the vibe. So yeah, I personally think this figure looks amazing just as is. But let's talk about the articulation a bit. So the head, pretty basic, 360 degrees. It kind of has like a weird, I don't know, his head is shaped weird. It's like a weird, like there's not much light right now, but it has like that weird gap. There you go. You can see that. It's like, I don't know. It's definitely an interesting, it's kind of loose. It's an interesting figure, but it does its job, right? So it has 360 degrees. Its up is about that much. Its down is about, get it to like there, side to side. Kind of go from there, kind of turn it a bit, but from there to there, I'd say. His shoulders go 360 degrees. Kind of the cape gets in the way, but not really. He gets that bicep swivel right there. His elbows are double jointed, which, just let me get there real quick. It's kind of stiff, this other joint on the elbow. But yeah, there we go. Double jointed on the elbows, and you can see his web blades. I don't really know what to call those. His wrist has 360 degrees, and it goes 90 degrees both ways, just like that. His abs do crunch in, and they have kind of a backwards thing here. Another criticism I have is when you do this, the web emblem does get a little broken up right there, but that's fine. I'm not really planning on posing him like that, I don't think. But yeah, crunch. His waist has a full 360 degrees. Oh my god. Wow. All right. Okay. His leg goes 90 degrees outwards, just like that. His knee has a double joint, just like that. His thigh has a swivel, 360 degrees. And his ankle, if I can get it up, his ankle goes about, it's kind of stiff, but I guess it's kind of hard to move, but goes, she doesn't have that much movement. I feel like if I move it any farther, I'm gonna break it. So it feels like it doesn't want to move all that much, but yeah, it is a weird looking figure. It is a weird, there's a lot of, I don't know. I'm testing this all for the first time myself, so I'm just as confused and surprised as you guys are. But yeah, let me try to put this guy into some poses. We'll talk about them. I'll talk about how the posing experience is with this guy. I'm hoping it's good. It might be a lot like that Sentinel Spider-Man that I did, because his feet are so tiny. The posing might be a little bit hard to balance. So yeah, here we go. And I'll get to that real quick. Here's the first pose I put him in, and before this guy falls down, because I can almost guarantee he will, the posing is, the balancing. The posing is nice. I have some comments about it, but the balancing is where it gets me. It is really hard to balance, so I'm just gonna slowly 360 this guy around as I pray to God he doesn't fall. But this is kind of like an angry, I tried my best. It's kind of like an angry, I don't know, his arms are out, he's screaming, his head's tilted up, something, right? But something about the figure, I'm not exact, I can't really put my finger on it, but it seems a little cheap. It almost has, I don't know if it's the plastic they used or something about the joints, or I'm not really sure, but just playing around with it, moving it around, really gives you a very cheap feeling, which isn't a good feeling to have when you're playing with a toy. But like, that's just one thing about this figure that I've noticed so far, is that is as cool as it looks, it does feel cheap. It feels more cheap than I would say for a normal Marvel Legends figure, especially a Spider-Man figure. I have many Spider-Man Marvel Legends, and none of them feel quite as cheap as this guy does, which is a real bummer for me. But yeah, so I'll put this guy, some other poses I might have some more comments about, some ins and out of this figure. But yeah, so that's just about it for me. Okay, I think he's gonna fall. But something about the balance. Yep. Something about the balancing is that, especially since those joints earlier, like I said, are a little bit those ankle joints are they're a little bit lackluster. It's really hard to get the feet into a position where he's standing and it looks good. This is I tried to give him more of an idle stance. As you can see, it is particularly hard to actually get this guy into a good position. I'm gonna play around with it. I'm going to find a pose that works with this guy, but just truth be told, it is a challenge. This figure is, again, it looks awesome. It's a really great character, and I hope the movie is as good as as it seems so far. But just the figures for this movie, I'm looking at Spider-Punk as well to get in the future, and again, it just doesn't seem like it's worth it because these figures don't seem as high quality as some other Marvel Legends figure, and I just don't know if it's worth the same price. Here's another pose I put him in. I think I'm gonna try out some more in air poses after this one because I'm getting pretty frustrated with the whole balancing act I have to do with this guy. See, it's 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 a great figure, and honestly, you can get him into some pretty menacing poses like this one, especially with these open hands. You can really make him look scary, but just wow. On my shelf, if I decide to pose him standing up, I'm definitely going to be needing to use poster putty or some kind of other material to kind of stick them to my shelf because this is just not working in the way that I would want, that would be optimal. So it's great, but it's really hard to get him into not only a good pose, but then the pose would have to be able to balance, and then you would have to balance that on top of that. So it's definitely a balancing act with this guy, but great figure. This one's kind of a midair punch one. The thing is, I don't have any figure stands to actually pose my characters like this, which is a real bummer because this figure would be it'd be ideal to pose him mid-air or something like this where he's punching or something like that. So I'll show a bunch of other poses where he's mid-air doing something like this. Like, that is so cool. I think you could definitely get creative. If you have a figure stand, I definitely suggest getting this guy picked up. But if you don't, I don't know if it's worth it. I feel like the figure stand is a real deal breaker on this figure because it's just so hard to pose him without one. So yeah, there's that. I'll do some other ones right here. Here's a mid web shooting or almost like a web slinging. I'm pretty sure, I do know Spider-Man 2099 has organic webbing, but I don't know if it comes out of the top or the bottom side of his wrist. It's I can definitely look that up later, but I'm fairly sure it was the top. I could be totally mistaken. But yeah, here's another pose like that. He's swinging and or I guess he could be punching, I don't know. It's a whole thing. You can even add some more twists and turns like that. The head is very interesting to pose. I would say that it's a very interesting shape, and I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird head to pose, but it's not like it's a problem or anything. But yeah, there is that. So yeah, I think this is the pose I'm gonna end up doing. I'll show you what my plan is for my shelf. I'm gonna play around with this guy a bit. I already kind of have a basic idea. I'm gonna work on the shelf for a while. I'll come back to you when it's done. And yeah, so I have a plan. I'm going to use a pose similar to this, somewhat like this. So yeah, I'm excited to see how it turns out, and I'm excited to show you guys. So yeah, here you go. and I'll show you guys what I did with it right now.
All right, guys, it's the next day. I just woke up because I did this late last night. I was hanging up and kind of moving around this section of my Spider-Man section. And yeah, so I moved this guy around a bit just to kind of fit better with Miguel right here. I think this is pretty awesome. So before, right in this kind of spot, I had my Renew Your Vows Spider-Man, which I've taken off and kind of posed him like that, which I think is cool. Now that he's off of this kind of hook, I might do a review on him and MJ that come with the Renew Your Vows. I know it's a little late, significantly late, but yeah. So I got this guy hanging right there. That's the pose I put him in. It's kind of like a grabbing. I might change this hand to a fist. It depends on which or what I'm thinking later on. But yeah, that's the Spider-Man section of my collection. So if you guys did enjoy the video, please do like and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below any other figures, toys, sets you'd like me to review in the future. And of course, I'll see you guys next time.